Hi, everyone. I'm so excited. Today we have Juliana Monsalve here in the studio. She is a professional dancer and boxing coach, and she also would you consider yourself a model?
Yes, I do
You model?
personally. Yes.
Yeah. I was wondering, I'm like, is she a slash model actor, or do you get those side gigs based on how gorgeous you are? I just feel like those
Thank you.
gigs like land, like you don't even have to seek them out. I'm sure people just come to you like, oh, this woman's gorgeous.
Thank you. No, it's actually been a lot of work, like trying to find my niche and just like where I fit in the industry. Because a lot of times it was, oh, you're kind of too edgy looking, or it's just too Hispanic looking. But I mean, I'm embracing it, and I think it's the best thing I've done. And I love
Yes.
it.
Yes, and you're really good at embracing who you are. That is one of the first things I picked up on when I
Thank
first met
you.
you. And by the way, we met at a wire fighting class.
It was so funny.
So if you don't know what that is, I mean, I guess they only offer that in few places in Los Angeles because
Yeah.
this is a town where we make movies. It's like a Hollywood stunt class where you're flying on wires and you're doing fight
Fighting, yes.
sequences. And I remember you because you're so fit and athletic and your core, you're like solid as rock. So when you do the moves, you look really good
Thank
and
you.
really strong doing it. Where I feel like I'm trained in dance, but ballet background, so it's graceful and I can remember the choreo, but the movements aren't strong. I feel like I have flailing limbs
What?
when I do. I'm gonna have to bring out some
No.
footage and maybe I'll share it. But you had your braids and like this. You looked really good in like a black outfit or something. And I'm wearing like my husband's like t-shirt and my hair's in my face. I'm like struggling to keep up.
No, you're crazy. It's funny that you say that because I remember seeing you two and meeting you, and we kind of like had a few words, and I was like, this woman's a badass. Hell yeah. And you're like, I'm here for fun, just like to do something different. I was like, what?
I want some
Yes,
exercise.
hell yeah. And I was like, I love it. Love that energy. And you
Yes.
didn't look awkward. No, what?
Thank you. Thank you. But I did notice that you have really good energy. It's very magnetic. You're very
Thank you.
playful. You're very feminine. You're confident, yet you're also very grounded. And I would like to ask, have you always been this way?
No, but thank you for saying that. I actually have not. And I feel like the older I got, the more I embraced who I was. I was actually bullied really bad growing up. It was really tough, like up until high school. And I think it was because one of my older brothers was in high school with me my freshman year, and he was kind of like, nobody messed with my sister. And I wasn't. I was very insecure. I always like I didn't feel happy or like myself. I felt very lost for a very long time. And it was a struggle finding myself and just like a lot of confidence. And what happened was I started doing the things that I love, which was dancing, and boxing came into my life. And I always say dancing is my first love, but boxing is the love of my life. And it just gave me this crazy newfound confidence and just doing all these things and getting into stunts and just being me and realizing that I was not going to be happy until I started to be who I truly was, which is I'm very playful. I am, and it's like I'm really giggly and quirky. And I remember one of my first auditions. It was so many years ago, and it kept happening that I was just being told, "You're too quirky. You're too skinny. You always have to wear a jacket because your arms are super long and you're awkward." And just kind of tone down the like little giggly attitude. It's a little too much. It's annoying. I kept trying to fit into other people's boxes, and I was like, okay, well, this is what it has to be. Like maybe I'm just too much. And then it clicked one day, and I was like, I'm not too much. I'm so unhappy because I'm not being me. And I started being myself, and I started attracting people that were better for me, that were better for my mental health, for my soul, like people that made me happy, jobs that made me really happy. And I found myself, and I was like, you know what? I love this. And that's why every time I train people, I always tell them, be you. be you, be a badass. That's what I always say. Be you, be badass. And it's because to me, there's nothing more attractive than to see somebody that's really confident in just themselves without having to change too much of yourself. Because obviously, we do change as we grow and it happens, but there's nothing more badass and sexy and appealing than to be yourself in a world and environment and like society that constantly tells you to be someone else. And I just, it started happening, and also like my girlfriend, and just, it's true, the people you surround yourself with really either help you get to like your fullest potential or they pull you back. And just staying authentic, it's what's made me the happiest. And now I'm just like, hey, if a role wasn't for me, it wasn't for me, but at least you got to meet me. And then I've gotten a lot of feedback of, oh, we gave you the job because you were yourself and you came in here smiling and like just cracking jokes and being weird and nerdy. And I was like, oh my god, thank you, because for such a long time I hid that because I was afraid and I was told, well, you're too much. But I think it's sexy to be you.
No, it totally is. You're very sexy, and it's effortless sexy. I think there's a distinction there. That's something else I picked up about you, is you don't try too hard. I think that's what makes it so attractive.
Thank you.
And I think a lot of women, they struggle with that. I mean, most of my audience, you know, they're looking for love. And there's a lot of books out there saying you should do this, how to be more feminine. I'm just like, you really, there's no right or wrong.
Exactly.
You just need to do you, and then you're going to attract the right partner.
Exactly.
Right. I mean, it seems it's that simple, right? But it does, I mean, based on you talking about your journey, sometimes it does take a while for it to click because it can be really hard. I want to ask, did you have to switch your friend circle at any point? Did you realize, you know, maybe some of these people that you're hanging around were maybe encouraging you to be too safe or not encouraging you to be your full expression of yourself?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, uh, they always say, especially in the industry, it's hard to make friends because most people are not your friends. They just kind of want to keep up with you just to see what you're doing. And either that or you have people that are just so close minded and they're like, I mean, you should just get used to the 9 to 5 and do something safe. You're never going to make it. That's like a 1 in 1,000 people make it. And it's like I couldn't do that because I'm a dreamer, I'm a free spirit. And I was like, no, if one person could do it, that just tells me there's a possibility. If one person made it, I can make it too. Why not? We're so much more powerful than we realize. And I've always been like that crazy one that I'm like, oh, I love to dream, and that seems so impossible, but how exciting, because it seems impossible. Like now I really want to chase it. And I did. I mean, you have to cut out people that kind of become toxic for you and pull you back. Is just because they know that you might make it and they never were able to, and people project their insecurities on you. And it's like, you have to learn, either you learn how to keep that relationship and just not be bothered by it, or just, not let it change your mind too much, or you just cut out the friendship. And it's kind of like backwards to what they teach us, to like nourish every single relationship in our life. And it's not true. Like, people do come into our life sometimes as teachers, and hopefully we learn the lesson. If not, that same person's gonna come in a different form. And it's just kind of like choosing your battles too, with friendships and even family. Just who are the people that are good for you, for your soul, for everything that you want to be, and what kind of relationship you want with certain people. And just knowing that you don't really owe anyone an explanation either, which has been one of the hardest things for me, because I kind of people please. And it's something that I've been learning to not do, because at the end of the day, my happiness matters. If I'm not happy, then I can't show other people happiness. And I'm always preaching all that, be badass, be you. Like, I can't be a hypocrite. I do think you need to cut some people out. But you'll know, and your intuition tells you. And staying true, and just knowing that you never lose people that are not supposed to be in your life.
Can we talk about your relationship?
Yes.
Because you've been with your girlfriend for a long time.
Yes.
How many years has it been?
9 years now.
9 years. Oh, I need to get some relationship advice from you, because Pete and I have been together upcoming 6 years, but I always like to talk to people who have been in relationships long term because you guys know what's up. You've been
Yeah,
through highs, you've been through lows, and I really enjoy talking to people who can give me advice.
definitely. You could give me some advice.
Okay. So actually, can we rewind to before
Yes,
you
of course.
you both met? Because there might be some people listening who have not come out yet.
Of course.
And those conversations can take a lot of courage. It's different
Yeah.
for everybody. I think having good communication and good relationships, a lot of people, they just want that.
Yeah.
So when did you know that you were gay?
Um, Very young. I grew up in sort of a religious household, kind of old school mentality. We're Colombian, and I was born and half raised there. Just it was just kind of like that Hispanic mentality. I didn't know how it was gonna go, so I knew very young, but I was very confused. I didn't understand what was happening. I always felt like an attraction to girls and like women over men, and it was very confusing. Like, just imagine being young and very confused and not really having anyone to talk to or anywhere to like feel seen or anything. So very young, I knew I hit it, and I was like, no, this is wrong, this is wrong. It can't be, like, it has to be a phase. It's like, just no. And you kind of convince yourself, and I feel like for a lot of people that's kind of like how it starts. And you just don't know. You don't know any better. You don't know what you're feeling, and you're like, oh, why did I feel that for that girl? Like, what? Like, we should be friends. No, she's pretty, but like not like that. And you freak out, and it's like an internal battle for so long. But I feel like I knew very young, and then I didn't completely fully embrace it until like high school, honestly.
Okay. And then how did you tell your family?
It was my junior year in high school. I remember I texted one of my very close friends and I told her, I'm coming out. And she was like, oh my God, it's happening. What? And I was going to pick her up. My mom was dropping us off at dance rehearsal. And I went to pick her up and I told her, I'm about to tell my mom. I wrote a text and I told my mom, Mom, I'm gay. I sent it as soon as I walked out of the door and I was like, okay, bye. And I ran out. And I remember getting to rehearsal and I was just like bawling. I was so scared. I had seen really crazy coming out stories from other girls in high school. And it was scary because I'm like, I might just lose everything right now. But it was something that was telling me, like, you're not being yourself. You're not being yourself. There's something missing. You just try to be as authentic and true to who you are. And I did it, and I can tell you it's the hardest thing I've ever done. What you feel in that moment, like, I can't even describe it to you because I wanted to cry out of happiness, but out of fear, panic. I was like, what's happening? It was like a confusion. I was dizzy. I wanted to throw up, like sweating. But my mom texted me right away and she said, okay, we can talk about it when you get home. And I was like, it's gonna happen. She's gonna kick me out. And I got home and she sat me down. I feel like I have a unicorn story. Not many people have my story, but I'm very grateful for it. My mom was very open about it. All she said was, "That's fine. I just want you to be happy." And she said, "I'm gonna ask you this," and she's like, "Forgive me if this is ignorant to ask and if it hurts you, but did something happen to you?" And I said, no, nothing has happened to me. Thank you, but no, not really. It's just how I feel. I don't know how to explain to you why I feel this way. And she said, okay, do you need help coming out to the rest of the family? Do you need more privacy? Are you dating someone? Would you like to bring someone home? Like, you know, this is your home. You just, as long as you're happy and you're not doing bad to others. She's like, I don't care. You're my daughter. So to me, it was like, oh my gosh, such a relief. And then I came out to my sisters, and I mean, they were super chill about it too. And then obviously my brothers, and I came out to my stepmother before my dad, just because communication with her and I has always been very open and fluid. And I feel like I could talk to her about anything. And she helped me come out to my dad. And I had a great experience. I really, truly did. Everyone was really loving and supportive. So I I just felt loved, and I felt like, oh my gosh, this is what I needed. I'm finally myself. I feel happy. I feel safe. And all my dad did tell me, he's like, I'm crying because you're so brave for doing this. I just know the world is going to treat you a little different and it's going to be a little tougher. And that hurts me. And I don't want to see you hurt. But I was like, it's okay. Like, we all go through hardships. I'd rather be myself and go through some hardships than live a lie my whole life and then maybe end up married and then ruin someone else's life when you can't live a lie forever. Do you want to be happy or do you want to live a lie and pretend you're happy for the rest of society to feel like, oh my gosh, she has a perfect life? Or just be yourself and F what anyone says and it is what it is. And I mean, that's kind of how it went with me. But I do always try to say that when people ask, do you think I should come out or not? I always say, only you know, and make sure that if you're coming out, it's safe and that you're not putting yourself in a position where you might be harmed. And it's a very personal journey, so I'm never able to be like, yes, come out, be you, oh my god, all the flags. I don't necessarily agree with that, just because I do know it's not safe for everyone. Some people, I've seen them lose everything, and to the point that like you end up homeless. And I feel like there should be a little more thinking into it. And I obviously, yes, be yourself, but your safety matters too. And it doesn't mean you're living a lie. You're just waiting for a time where you can be safe, where you can have some sort of people to back you up, to have you safe, even if it's not family. Just being mindful of your surroundings, where you are, where you live, and I don't know, just staying true. I feel like a lot of allies try to be like, yeah, be gay, be out, do all these things, but unless you've been in the position, you don't really know what it's really like. And I feel like, especially for the youth, just you know in your heart and the situation that you live in, if it's safe or not. And I don't think it's worth risking your life. I think you can wait a little bit, live your authentic life, be true to yourself, but also take care of yourself. I know a lot of people don't agree with me, but I've seen a lot to be comfortable saying this because I mean, I know what it is to be young and scared, and thankfully I had a story where I was young, scared, and loved. But it's tricky because even sometimes the people that like family, they go against you. It took me a lot of years to learn this, and I learned it more through my girlfriend's experience. And I had to sit down and I said, well, we have to put ourselves in their shoes as well, because these are people that come from sometimes very religious backgrounds, very old school backgrounds from our countries. And it's changing something they learned their whole life in 2 seconds, basically. And I understand that we should be more progressive and love is love, but also, like, we will be hypocrites to be like, no, F you, you have to understand me and you have to support me. Like, right off the bat, it doesn't work like that. Like, we have to understand that they're human too, and to them, it might be like grieving a loss. It's a lot. I know a lot of people don't agree with this, but if we want compassion and love, we have to be love and compassion as well. And
Absolutely. I
it's
agree.
tricky.
It can be hard sometimes with the emotions that come
Yeah.
up, but we're seeing a lot of that with the political climate and everything.
Yeah.
Like the discussions that go on, I'm like, this is not a discussion. Like nothing's going to progress with the way that people are talking here.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask because you said you got bullied a lot
Yes.
growing up. So did you feel scared that when you came out, like maybe I'll get bullied more?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that was always a fear. I this sounds like out of a movie, but I remember I would be in, it was mostly in middle school where it got really bad. And in elementary, like, if we really backtrack a little bit, and I never spoke to anyone about this just because we came here from another country. There was so many hardships already. Like, I just saw everyone in my life going through so much trauma themselves that I was like, I can't put another trauma on them. When you're young, like, you go into fight or flight as well, and it was crazy. And I remember just in middle school, like I was saying, I would kind of grab my lunch and then go to the bathroom and I would cry because I just felt so bad and people would make fun of me. And I got bullied for my appearance my whole life. And it was for my appearance, for not knowing English. And it was always something, and things that seem so small right now that you really look at like the huge picture. But it's something that I was talking to my best friend and my girlfriend about not too long ago, that people don't realize that when you get bullied like that, it kind of leaves marks in you, even into adulthood. Like I'm well into adulthood right now. It sometimes comes back, and you're like, "Oh, I thought I had healed that, and I didn't. Like, what's going on?" And yeah, it was just kind of like a moment of, do we start the bullying all over again, or do we hide again? It always has come down to, are you going to be yourself, or are you going to live a lie to live this happier, safer life around society? And I mean, it was a battle, like for a very long time, even to come out to my friends that I knew were not homophobic at all. It was still scary because I'm like, I'm in a dance team full of girls. They're gonna think I'm checking them out. My best friend, I sleep over her house sometimes. Like, I don't want her to feel uncomfortable. It's not like that. Like, I've always been very respectful about that. And I feel like sometimes people do freak out and they're like, oh my God, gay. Like, don't look at me. Like, don't worry, I'm not. But it was scary just because it's the fear of the unknown always with everything.
Okay, so I have to tell you that I saw the Me Undies commercial. That's when I decided, I'm like, she needs to come on my podcast. It was so cute. Well, first I saw the billboard of the two of you at Westfield, Century City. I was like, oh my gosh, there's Juliana. And then I saw the commercial, which was the first time I saw you talk about your relationship and how you were giggling. I was like, that is so cute. And again, with the embracing, I love how you said like you got bullied for your body and then also the way you spoke, because those are the two things that you really embrace now.
Yeah.
Because you said even your accent, you said for a while you worked with a voice coach to get rid of your accent, and then you decided like, what am I doing? Like, I don't want to get rid of my accent.
Yeah, because like my accent was such a huge thing, and I remember somebody telling me, your accent is so thick, which I hear myself back in a lot of things and I'm like, oh, it's not that thick, but I mean, whatever if it is. And I remember trying so hard and I was like, oh, like, how do you get rid of this? How do I sound more American? And then I was like, no, like, this is one of the things that keeps me grounded and keeps me close to my roots. Like, I'm Colombian, my name's in Spanish. I never ever introduced myself in English because I mean, we came to this country, learned the language, changed everything, huge culture shock. The least people can do is say my name correctly. And don't get me wrong, I love this country and I love being here because of I do feel the freedom and the difference. And I'm so eternally grateful to be here. But I also want to be myself. And now I love my accent, and I never understood that because every time I heard accents, I was like, I love that it's so beautiful. Like it just lets me know, oh my God, maybe you know another language, or like there's different culture to you. I want to learn more. Why erase it? I don't think there's anything special in making yourself like everyone else. Why take away your spark? Why take away what makes you unique?
It makes me a little sad when I see, like on Instagram, I think it's more prevalent now.
Yeah.
Of a lot of the young women look the same, and with the facial injections and stuff, I'm like, they all look the same, and it makes me a little sad. Everyone, I mean, people have different taste, and you know, I'm always you do you, you know, as long as you feel good, I think it's good. But part of me, it makes me a little sad because I feel like the thing that makes you weird is really a superpower. Like, that sounds so cheesy.
No, it's true.
But I mean, you can attest to this, like your career, my career too, like the weirder I am, like on Instagram and stuff, I get better feedback and it helps you stand out. Otherwise, you're fighting with, you know, or comparing yourself to a million other that have the same content as you. And I'm like, what's the point of that?
I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I'm so glad you brought that up because, I mean, you've been through my whole Instagram and it looks very perfect all the time. But I'm always very adamant about reminding my followers and just like friends too that Instagram is not real. Social media is not real. All we ever share is like the highlight reels of our life. But I also am very open about posting pictures without makeup, about going on my stories and just like talking and being myself, about showing people that like, yeah, I could have this great body. I'm super fit. I have so many stretch marks and I love it. I show it. I just posted pictures in a super high slit dress. And the first thing I said is, nobody's photoshopping those stretch marks. Like, I want it as raw as possible because it makes me sad to see some girls that are like, I don't ever want to wear shorts. I don't want to wear this bikini because I have stretch marks and it's so disgusting. And this celebrity said that that is so gross. So I'm saving money to go tattoo them or something. And to me, that's like shocking. I'm like, stop trying to change yourself. Why? Like, you're human. Like, please realize that these people don't even look like themselves in real life.
Yeah.
Like, let's just be very real. And I try to keep it as real as possible and as raw on my Instagram, just because I know there's younger girls watching me. There's also people my age, older women, and I don't ever want to come off like everything is so perfect, because that's unrealistic. I don't like selling a lie like that. Like, why? You should be there to feed your mind positivity. And I've been meaning to post something that says, unfollow all the influencers you follow, unfollow all these people that don't make your soul feel good. Like, you should be going on there and getting like a boost of happiness and, oh my god, oh my gosh, she looks like me. Oh wow, like that's so cool. I could do that too. You should make people feel like they're unstoppable and they could reach higher levels in their life, instead of being like, oh my god, I'm so perfect, like can't even move my face type of vibe. I don't like that. I don't agree with it. And I constantly try to say this: Instagram is not real, social media is not real. Just don't bring yourself down. Just know that, again, a lot of us also use it for work, so it has to look very professional, and it is what it is. But there's nothing more beautiful, there's nothing more sexy, there's nothing more empowering than seeing someone rock a scar or stretch marks or like a cute little crooked nose, or like just something. Just those little things make people so beautiful. And I don't I don't understand why our society is turning so superficial, but I hope that we can change it, one crazy person at a time.
I feel like humans tend to be pretty extreme. Like, it goes one way and
Yeah.
then back. I mean, one of the benefits of getting older, I do feel like as I've gotten older, I care less and I'm more comfortable in my skin. That feels really, really good. Where I was similar to you when I was younger, I felt like I couldn't be me. It's really painful when you feel like you can't be you and you don't fit in, or, you don't know who you are. And once you get there, I'm still not completely there, but it's much
Yeah.
better than when I was younger. And so for the women who are in their 40s and they said, I haven't like met my person yet. I'm like, you're lucky. Like, like when you're in your 40s, you know who you are much better
Yeah.
than when you're younger. And everyone's story is different, but I think like if I ended up with a guy that I was dating in my 20s, I was like, thank God. I'm actually glad that did not work out. That would have been a very difficult
Disaster.
relationship, or we would be divorced by now. So I'm happy I met my husband when I did. So let's talk about your relationship.
Yes.
Ruth Mary. Both of you are gorgeous, by the way, and your style, both of you has such good style.
Thank
I feel like I would want to take like cool lessons from you.
What?
Yes. Yes, because you guys just make everything look cool.
No.
Okay, so I want to hear the story of how the two of you met. She's a dancer as well.
Yes, that's actually how we met. I got invited to a dance rehearsal, and I wasn't gonna go in, and I kind of just went like, oh, okay, like I'll just pass by. It was really close to my house, and I remember she was in charge of the studio, and she came a little late, and she walked in, and I was like, ah, who is that? And I was like, oh my god, please be gay, please be gay, please be gay, because usually dancers, especially street dancers, we all kind of look gay and most are not. So I was like, oh my god, just please be gay, please be gay, please be gay. I was just looking at her. She was so mean. She was so rude. If she was in here, she would be looking at you like, That's not true. She's lying. She always fights me on this, but I was like, oh my God, she's so beautiful. And she says it's different. And she was just like, when you get to meet her, she's very kind of serious.
More stoic,
Yeah.
right? Like you're the energetic,
Yeah.
bubbly one, and she's more low key.
Yeah, she's like, no, like I knew I thought you were so beautiful. I just kind of like kept it to myself, and I was like, oh my God, you were rude. But I was like, I didn't care. And I was just like a deer in headlights. And I remember texting one of my best friends, and I was like, I just made my future girlfriend. She just doesn't know it yet. And I was just like being brave and just hoping for the best. And I kind of dropped it. And then we started rehearsing together, and everything happened very, very fast. And it kind of scared me, but I was like, there was a crazy attraction and like just like energy and like this pull. And I was like, oh my God, like what is happening? Like, who are you? And it happened fast. And
did you make the first move?
kind of, yeah. Yes.
Okay. What did you say, or what did you do?
Okay, if there's something you should know about me is I'm very private about my personal life. I don't like people in my home. Like if I ever were to invite someone into my house, it's a big deal. Home is so sacred to me, and I believe in like energies and just like people leaving energy. So I don't know, home is your safe place. I threw a whole party with the whole crew and all the dancers just to hopefully get her in my house to find out if she was gay or not. And I was like, party in my house, everybody come, you're invited, bring your friends, bring whatever. And I was like, the anxiety in me was gonna like give me a heart attack. I was like, ew, people are coming, there's gonna be a mess. I was like, I don't care. I was like, are you coming? And she was like, oh, I have a shoot. And I was like, I'm about to cancel all this. But she ended up coming, and we were just having a great time. I kept my room closed. I had a bathroom outside for guests, but then I had the bathroom in my bedroom. Mm-hmm. And somebody was using the restroom, and she was like, oh, I need to use the restroom. And I didn't think much of it. I was like, okay. So I let her in my room, and then I just closed the door and I waited inside because I'm like, I mean, this is still a stranger. I don't know who's in my bedroom. But I was just kind of standing there, and she came out, and I was like, like, we kind of just stared at each other for a long time, and I was like, oh my God, it's happening. And we kissed, and it kind of felt super magical, and it was a really great first kiss. And I was like, oh, she is gay. She's totally gay.
I love it. That's so interesting, because I've been hit on a lot by women, and I feel like
I could imagine. You're very beautiful. No disrespect, but you are.
You. I mean, granted, a lot of these times, like I used to photograph events a lot, so if it'd be like a lesbian event, but I wasn't used to it, and they just be like, hi, and I'm like, hi, like
normal.
Like, can I do something for you? And then I was like, oh, she's hitting on me. Okay.
It's high.
So I was wondering, like, because you don't know, like, you're like, is this person gay or not? But then quickly they'd be like, oh, okay, she's not gay. And then they'd be like, oh, can we get a picture or something? So I'm just wondering sometimes, how do those conversations go if you're unsure? And for you, it was just intuitively, it seemed like you both kind of just gravitated physically towards each other in that moment.
Yeah, we did. I feel like it's pretty tricky. And one thing for me that's like one of my biggest rules is don't date a straight girl. Don't date a straight girl. Don't date a straight girl. You're going to be heartbroken. You're going to be there fun time. That, or like they're going to think you're trying to turn people, and I feel like that's very disrespectful. You shouldn't be trying to turn anybody out.
Right.
Live how you want people to let you live too. Like, come on, like, let's be respectful on all spectrums. But I honestly just, it kind of happens, and I don't know. I'm telling you, it's just like this crazy connection that I had never felt. And I was just like, oh my gosh, please don't let me be wrong, because wow. This feeling is amazing. And I mean, you kind of just have to go for it. And if it's not you're kind of like, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to disrespect you, and let's drop it. And I mean,
Okay. Okay.
What else can you do? It's
No.
confusing sometimes unless it's like someone that's a little more butch, like masculine.
Mhm.
Then obviously in that moment you kind of know.
Yeah.
So it's like you gamble.
Yes. Got it. And at this time, was she out yet?
No.
Okay, so you guys went through that together.
Yeah, definitely. It was actually very, very tough. That's probably been one of our biggest hardships because obviously I'm not gonna share her whole coming out story because I feel like that's her story to tell. But it was the complete opposite of mine. And what had happened was that we were getting pretty serious and I did tell her like I love you and I respect you. However, I don't ever want to be anyone's secret. I don't want to leave like in a secret. I don't want to be in the closet. I don't think it's fair for you. I don't think it's fair for me. If our relationship is going to blossom, I don't want to be kept a secret. Like we're going to be living a double life and I can't handle that. So, kind of like an ultimatum, but it was also like if you're ready, just know that I'm here for you and it probably is going to be hard. Obviously, like I said, it's such a scary feeling. It's some like I don't even know how to describe to you the fear you feel the moment you're about to do it. And it's been really rough. It was very, very tough. We're kind of now almost 10 years later seeing a little bit of the light at the end of the tunnel, but it's been tough and I want to respect that that's her story to tell and it's just knowing that do you love this person enough to just stick with them because it gets tough and a lot of not so great things start to happen and you need to know that your relationship is strong enough to stand all these things because it can get very painful. It's very traumatic. More than anything, it's very traumatic and it takes a lot of healing. Just as yourself to forgive and kind of try to forget and just to heal for yourself because if not you're never going to be able to live. So it's been tough, but I tell her all the time I'll do it over and over again with you just because I love you so much and I know you're it and for me you're it and I know it's hard and it's worth it. It's worth it if we're gonna be okay at the end. And at the end of the day, too, like you make your own family and you live your own life. You have to live your life for yourself. And as selfish as that sounds, everyone makes their own life and you deserve happiness. You deserve happiness. You deserve happiness. Whoever's hearing this, you deserve happiness. Like, that's so important, even if a lot of people don't agree. Like, there are going to be people that do, don't, anything you do in life. So, just be true to yourself. Know that some of the hardest things in your life are going to bring you the greatest joys. So, it's just picking and choosing your battles. And that was a very, very, very huge war. And I'm glad we did it just because I also see the change in her that she's able to be herself authentically, to just live life and breathe a little easier because there's no big secret anymore. So it's tough, but I think it's very worth it.
What are some of your favorite qualities about her?
She's very funny. I know she seems very serious, but she has a very funny sense of humor, and it's like she's my best friend. We can always make each other laugh, and I mean, to be with someone 9 years and living with them 9 years is like I like space. I'm a very I want my own space. I like doing things my way and to be able to coexist with someone like that just said a lot to me because I'm like, wow, like she's very kind, she's loving and she's just funny too. She's very silly. So it's like a lot of times when things are too serious, it's like she reminds me to like, hey, loosen up a little, like relax. We don't have to take things so serious. Have fun, live life. And it's like we balance each other very well. And I love that. Like just she's kind, she's funny, she's quirky too, even though she doesn't look it. And it's just like she's always made me feel very sexy and beautiful too. It was one of the first times, like, in intimacy, I was so insecure because I'm like, oh my god, I have these stretch marks, and like, I don't have a huge butt, I don't have huge boobs, like all these things. And she was like, you look perfect, hell yeah. She was like, oh my gosh, she's like, I have stretch marks too, that's cool. She's like, awesome, like tiger stripes. I love scars. Scars are super dope. They tell stories. And I was like, oh, I felt super sexy. And I was like, wow, like I was not expecting that. And she's helped me a lot too, to just like be myself more authentically, and I really appreciate that. And I love that we're able to be ourselves with each other. So I mean, I could go on forever, but
So sweet. Have you been treated differently because you're in a gay relationship, or that you guys are gay? Like,
yeah.
what are some of the ignorant things that people have
Ooh.
said to
Oh
you?
my gosh, we will be here forever, but I feel
Okay,
like
well, what are the things you hear the most that it's kind of like,
I feel like one of the ones that hurt me a lot, it doesn't bother me as much anymore, but I was a little bit younger when they told us. It was okay, the first thing that I was ever really told that kind of like left a mark, I was told, you're such a waste of a woman.
oh my
And I was
gosh.
like, what? Like my whole world started spinning, and I was like, why? And they're like, you're so beautiful for nothing. Like, what a waste. And I was like, but now I'm like, like
It-
what? Gay girls deserve beautiful girls too. What?
Yeah.
But
That's so
that
cruel.
was,
And
yeah, and like being young to hear that, it kind of like was like, oh, a little bit shocking. And
was it said to
then
you by a man? I'm just
yes.
curious.
Yes. And I'm not a man hater. Let's just put that out. Like I have so many brothers that are beautiful and wonderful, wonderful dad, wonderful stepdad. So like I don't I'm not gonna go like on that extreme either. But yes, it was said by a man. It was very hurtful. Another thing that was said to my girlfriend and I that I couldn't believe, and I was like, why? Somebody was like, it's kind of weird that you guys want to have children. Like, you're never gonna give them a normal life. You're gonna fuck up your kids.
Oh my
Sorry if I'm not
gosh.
allowed to
No,
curse.
you could swear.
But they're like, that's weird. They're never gonna have a normal life. And I was like, why? I feel like if you're trying to raise a family, they just need support and love. You just need to bring up humans and have a healthy relationship with them. Make sure you're healed so that you don't hurt them.
Yes.
And just bring happy people into the world and make better humans for the future. And that to me was so painful to hear, because one of my biggest dreams is to be a mother. I do want to be a mother. It's something we talk about constantly. And that was so hurtful. To be told you're disgusting, it's kind of like that's kind of weird. Oh my gosh, this one kind of sucked. We were told, and I don't know how this could, like, how someone could think of this and say it to someone and feel okay saying it. Someone said to us, when judgment day comes, either on earth or whatever you believe in afterlife, just know that your sin is just as bad as that of a rapist and a murderer. So you should try to start righting your wrongs, because at the end of the day, you're gonna end up burning in hell, because might as well be one of those things. And I was like, how are you gonna put me on the same level as like
Did you know this person, or no?
yeah, we
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Okay.
I mean, and it how do you say that to someone? How in your mind, like, it doesn't make sense to me, because I'm just here loving someone. I'm just loving my girlfriend. I'm loving this person. I'm making a life with them. I respect you. I respect others. We try to live it as normal as possible. I don't believe there's anything that's too normal anyway. I think that was super disrespectful and hurtful. Like,
It's so cruel. I mean, in the bigger picture, we know it makes me a little sad for the person. I'm like, how much pain does someone have to be
yeah.
in to be saying stuff like that to other people? At the same time, even having that awareness, these things, it's hurtful. You know,
Yeah.
these things could be really hurtful. And I think too many people, they don't think before
Yeah.
they talk.
Yeah.
And they don't know the impact that they can have on someone else,
Yeah. I
you
mean,
know? And I think it's fine to have curiosity or not know something about
of course.
something, but mutual respect. I
Yeah.
think that's kind of lacking today. That makes me a little sad. I know a lot of people do have it,
Yeah.
you know, and I feel like the younger generation is, I have hope with them that I mean, they have so many resources like online
Yeah.
as well with the personal growth and stuff like that versus like going back to like our parents' generation and
Yeah.
stuff where all this stuff is like so foreign. Like, what?
Yeah, I mean, like it's kind of crazy, and I don't say these stories to like get pity, just because, to be honest with you, I'm okay. And most of the times when very extreme situations like that happen, I take them as a teaching moment versus I'm gonna get outraged and mad, and the world is against me, and oh my gosh, nobody loves us. No, like you have to be smart too. Like this is a teaching moment. Okay, why do you feel that way? But also like let's talk about it. If you really want to be respectful, let's talk about it. We're very open to anybody asking us anything as long as it comes from a place of I'm curious, I want to learn more versus I'm just being disrespectful and like whatever.
Right.
So I'm willing all the time to just be like, hey, if it really comes from a genuine place, let's talk. And that's it.
Yes, absolutely. So have you invited people who have said mean things to you before? Have you invited them? Like, you know, do you have questions about this or what about this makes you feel
Yeah,
that
definitely. I
way?
mean, a
And
lot
what
of
was their
time
response?
you're able to tell if you should continue that conversation or not.
Mm,
And sometimes I have like with a couple friends, and it was kind of like I'm sorry, I didn't mean to come off like that. And a lot of things get fixed when you actually speak to people and try to communicate a little better. If both sides don't get outraged and we try to come and unite and talk
yes.
and understand each other, things are not as hard as they should be.
Yeah. Have you ever reacted in a bad way before where it was just completely out of line and you lost it?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like now it's more because I've gone through it so many years, and I'm more level headed, and I'm very sure of who I am, and I don't really have that insecurity. But before, yeah, when I was younger, screaming, crying, all the things, and I you realize that that just steals so much energy from you, and at the end of the day, that person's going to go and live their own life, and they're happy living, doing all the things, and you're miserable because you let all that out, and it's not worth it. It's
That
not.
that's what I feel too. Like I used to hold things in a lot and
Yeah.
have a lot of anger and I'm like, what am I doing to myself? You know, like this isn't serving me. Like what am I going to do, just be angry at everything left
Yeah.
and right? You know, so I choose and I think the full range of emotions is important to have. It's
Of course,
I
no
don't
one's
advocate
perfect.
like yeah, I'm not like positivity all the time. I understand, you know,
Yeah.
you can absolutely be outraged, mad, sad, but I think the just having control of your emotions, you know, and just
Yeah.
thinking of how you impact someone else before,
Yeah.
you know, you have a conversation. And I think more conversations are needed like that, just out of curiosity. I always tell people like just stay curious. People are so judgmental now.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like too, it's like we could break so many stigmas like that. Like there's so many weird stigmas about the community and like being gay. Like we're so promiscuous and everybody's trying to turn everybody out. And I want to change that because we're trying to live just a normal life as a heterosexual couple, and like if we just respect each other, and we don't all have to agree at all times because that's just not natural either. But if we could just respect each other, that's all that matters. We get to break stigmas, we get to do all these things by talking. I won't lie and be like, no, I'm always just chill. No, obviously some things really get me angry, but I have to like bring myself back to myself and be like, hey, is this worth it? Is this person worth it? Are you going home with them? What's the battle you're gonna choose? And just knowing that at the end of the day, you're being you. If you're not hurting anyone, fuck what anyone thinks.
Yeah.
Like your happiness matters. Again, be you every single moment. Try to be in the moment. know that yes, love is love and love is beautiful. And how are we gonna say, oh, love is love, love is so beautiful, and all we're being is loving when things happen and all we're gonna be is outraged and violent and judgmental? I understand it's hard, and I understand not a lot of people agree with me, but how are we going to make a difference if we're acting exactly how people think we're going to act, exactly how people say we are? No, it doesn't make sense. You want to be love, act like love. You
Yeah.
want to have compassion, be compassionate with the person that thinks your life is a disgusting mess.
Yeah. I mean, to me that makes sense. I see it a lot where I'm like, well, you're acting exactly like the person that you're hating
Exactly.
right now.
Exactly.
So I totally get it, and I love your point of view, and I just I knew we would click.
Thank you.
I knew we could
I
have a good
know.
conversation.
After our first fight.
So thank you so much for coming on. If people would like to connect with you, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
Thank you for having me. And through Instagram, my Instagram handle is it's Queen Pebs. I'm sure we could throw it up somewhere.
Yes, it'll be in the notes. Pebs has 2 B's
Yes.
in it. And I noticed Ruth Mary's is it's King
King
Bam.
Bam.
So is there a Bam Bam and Pebbles?
Yes. Yes.
I just put that together when I was looking at
Yes.
your Instagram today. I'm like, oh, there must be nicknames or something
Yes,
like that.
when we met, I was a redhead. And obviously, she's been blonde. So
Pebbles.
our friends started calling us Bam and Pebbles. And it just stuck and for such a long time. And we left it. And like our whole life is just so be right and professional and industry that like Instagram needs to be fun. I'm not gonna make my Instagram super serious either. Just let me have that. Just that little bit of fun, like please. So that's where Bam and Peps comes from.
Super cute. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.